Are we doing a
Multiple
travel
people
roll?
have fur.
A travel roll? Oh god,
Right.
you're gonna make me do this travel roll.
Did we improve the
Sure.
life of
The birds we pass.
The grass that we're rolling over.
Oh, damn, it's a 2.
Uh-oh.
Hoping it was going to be a 1.
Random
No, 1s
encounter.
are really, really good. 6s are the random encounter.
Ah.
Oh, nice.
It's a
nothing-
nice day.
Nothing happens. You guys can all roll me like a double insight check though, if you want. In fact,
Also, sorry, before we completely move on from it, how many points do I gain towards my project?
you got a 14, huh?
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna say 1.
Thank you. I got a 14 right there too.
What is this for, Jason?
Very observant. You are watching the road.
Because I will just say Steve is kind of like allowing himself to like sort of zone out, kind of comparing it to summer days from his former world and former life. But if it's important,
then-
I'll roll.
If it's in,
Well, you know what I mean. Like if it's like
Whoa.
you see
I
fucking
get it.
dragon in the road.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna zone out unless it's important. Then I'm not gonna zone out. You are welcome to roll with like a -2. How's that?
Okay.
If you want to zone out.
Yeah, I'm zoning.
Daydreaming?
I'm zoning out. I'm thinking of my life and my love, Marla.
Oh, man.
Marla, why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that name?
No, he's at peace. She had a good life. You know?
Yo, is Steve ready to move on? Is he ready for romance?
No, he's too old for that.
Okay.
He's gonna see Peggy and he's gonna be like, "Oh shit! Oh
Who
man!"
the fuck is Peggy?
Who knows?
You might have met Peggy, Sean or Steve.
Peggy.
You've been in Don Laika, so that's where Peggy lives. That's what he's referring to.
Mhm. Maybe you'll like Velvet.
It's fine. We'll find out. Now he's just
Mhm.
naming people.
Go ahead. I'm like, it booted me out of the thing, so just continue and I'll
It's fine.
roll when I can.
So, Sharp and Kestrel,
Mhm.
and so far just you two. I suspect it'll only be you two, given the minus that Steve has.
Yeah, that's
You guys, amongst the beautiful day, winds rolling, sun's high in the sky. It's Palace Plains is very beautiful. There are, there are birds that kind of flip between what small trees there are and amongst the grass, and they'll even like fly up and like catch little butterflies and things like that. You'll occasionally catch like field mice or things like that. Off in the distance, sometimes you'll see like a herd of cow out just in one of the fields grazing and whatnot. As you guys are making your way closer to the town itself, that was Sean rolling and failing.
Mhm.
However, you do spot, and it is at first hard to spot because it is so high, and the sun is equally high in the sky at this point as it crawls closer to noon. But you do eventually see what looks like a bird until you realize that it is much larger than a bird descend down and land in what you would have mistaken for a hill until you notice that they are not rounded tops. Some of them are little triangles and little squares. It would appear that either a very large bird or perhaps a wyvern have landed in the city of Don Laika up ahead of where you guys are currently headed.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
The wife.
okay.
They're like the fucking dragon riders from Lord of the Rings.
Yes, the Terraliers, as they are called. Sorry.
Do they scream and deafen us?
They do not.
Oh.
You had seen some of them flying around the towers. I mean, some of them could, but they were flying around the towers in Lighthaven. They are technically part of sort of the going to say part of the Kieran military. That's not exactly the most accurate thing. They're sort of an organization that works alongside the Kieran military because Kieran military is not super keen on letting just any military run around. So that's just sort of how that works.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. But they often look out over like the cordon or go other places. Any place that they need air power, essentially, in Air Force. That isn't like a sort of spaceship, essentially. So they use the Wyvern Riders, the Tyroliers, to often patrol the skies and whatnot. You saw them in Lighthaven, and it does appear one of them has descended upon your destination, Dawnlaika, currently. I don't know if that will change your plans in any way, but a couple of you have noticed it. So
Kestrel's probably gonna point it out because wyverns have definitely attacked in the cordon a lot. So she's very familiar with what they do. And she's like, oh, and she taps Wolf on the shoulder pretty hard, actually. She's like, you said there were drakes near. And she points off at where the wyvern had landed. She's like, I saw them wyvern land in she doesn't know where that is, but over there.
And he kind of tries to look, and he clearly doesn't see it. And he goes, are you sure you saw the wyvern land? Is that where we are headed? And he kind of looks to Sharp, who is driving, so he just assumes you know.
Yes, sorry. I'm going.
Faster!
I don't know if Sharp actually noticed the wyvern at this point.
Probably not. She's so used to like zoning out. She's just staring at like the horse's butt.
Oh, I'm so glad she's the driver.
Sorry.
Cool.
It's the equivalent of cruise control. It's fine.
Yeah.
I said, Sharp, is that where you're headed? Over there, and she points.
Oh, looks like it.
Oh, jeez. Sorry. Kestrel is like, okay. And she looks to Wolf. Wolf?
It'll be fine.
And Wolf, well, Wolf is a little nervous as well, and he's just like, I'm not sure that we should be here, Kestrel. Do the wyverns know what we look like? Can they sniff us out? I have battled them, but not out here. Not like this. As he kind of looks down at his human-looking self,
yeah, she's like, I don't know. I don't know what they smell. It probably just regular smells, right? Like all other animals, right?
And he goes, I do not know. I have been avoiding them so far. I assume they could see me in my other form, but I don't know. Maybe we should get off. Maybe we should not go.
Well,
And he kind of almost like goes to stand up in the seat.
wow, Wolf, great mighty hunter Wolf. Why don't we all calm down for a second? It's probably not a coincidence that this wyvern is in the town that we are currently headed to. What we could do to be safe is Gunnulf, myself, and Albus. We've been to the town before. We're familiar with it. We certainly have an alibi. And if there's anybody else that would, and I'm forgetting, then I apologize and just chime in. But we could continue on ahead. Those that don't have the alibi, maybe wait behind, kind of keep watch, and we can scout ahead and see what it looks like. If anybody has a better idea, I'm all ears, though.
And Kestrel's like, I don't know. I wanted to see Dawnlaika.
Well, you will, unless the wyvern is there to kill us all. And then you'll be glad that you didn't go.
Okay, but how will you tell us if there is not a problem?
Well, so
We
like...
just wait outside? Outside the town? You want us to just wait out and just see what happens?
Well, so Jason, the town is like, if we can see the wyvern, I mean, also it's like the size of a cruise ship. It's like,
So okay, so have you ever driven through Oklahoma? Those places that are you can see a town very far away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So like you guys can see Dawn Laika off on the horizon, essentially. So by the time you get there, it's gonna be afternoon rolling into night. You still got a couple hours of travel in your little cart here. I mean, I guess unless you like try to fucking hoof it or something. But like so get
Well,
those horses, you know.
Like, the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi's
yeah,
not
come on.
good. That's how far.
But if we can see them, they can probably see us even out here, right? If they're looking.
Yeah, but where does a cart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you are currently just a cart.
Okay.
Wolf was hiding from them because he was like a 12-foot giant
Right.
running wolf, essentially.
So, like,
Yeah,
could
wolf
we
is
realistically get a bit closer and then say, you know,
Uh-huh.
once we're an hour or less out of town, then maybe we can break off and send
Sure.
word?
And to be fair, Wolf is going to have to defend himself and say, I am mighty hunter, but I do not know this area. I do not know how many of these drakes there
Oh,
are.
yeah,
I have-
yeah. Totally, yeah.
I have torn many of them from the backs of the wyverns and scattered their flesh across the bone. But
Absolutely.
But I do not know these ones here. I do not want to risk you and Kestrel.
Yeah,
It's-
that's what I was
it's not my
assuming
place.
is what you meant. Yeah, no, totally.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
same. Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, Wolf, so he doesn't have to face a wyvern. Should we? Does that sound good? Does anybody? If there's a better plan, like, or we can chance it. But if we're nervous about the wyvern and we knew that wyverns were hunting us, now there's one in the city. It seems like it's not a coincidence.
I don't think they're there to make a scene. Because if they were there to make a scene and they were looking for us, they would just come down where we're at. So, in my opinion, they're not coming for us. If they're coming for us, they're to hand us a message and get out. They're not gonna be attacking us in a residential or a town.
Yeah, but what if they just heard that's where we're going and they're laying in wait for us? And then once we get 15 minutes out, they fly out of the town and set our cart on fire. It's unlikely. Do you know for 100% that that's not the case?
That would be a lot of work that they could just do now. So I don't think. I think we're going to be fine. If anything, they're there to let us know about something and then be on their way.
Oh, yeah, because the great
Or they're
Kirin
just-
Empire is always so magnanimous.
They're really nice. It's just.
I think I'll just hang back with Wolf. I think we'll just hang back and then when you guys get like the inn or what, we'll rejoin you once the coast is clear. So just hang back.
I think that's a good plan. What we can do is drop you off. You can start making your way maybe to town walking. And you'll know one way or the other. Like, we'll find a way to get the message to you, like, if we need to abort. I have a feeling you're going to know ahead of time. But that's probably the safest route.
Okay.
Do
All right.
you agree?
I think just like, maybe just I don't know, we're 100 paces. 100 paces outside of town. Just far enough that maybe we could just, creep around and watch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
somewhere nearby.
I like that.
Okay. That's Wolf, that's a good idea, right?
I do not want to endanger your companions and you. If you think that is wise here amongst your people, Gunnulf, then I will do it. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So should anyone else hang back, or are we just good? The rest of us go. Wolf and Kestrel stay behind for now.
I mean, we know the two of them can fend off anything else that comes their way. I can stay with them if someone wants me to, but
No, don't feel compelled to. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
They can have a little time together.
Yeah, sibling time.
Okay. So you guys are still a couple hours out, and the sun is certainly headed towards the horizon by the time you guys are approaching the town. Roughly, I think where you guys wanted to drop Wolf and Kestrel off, from the sounds of it.
Mhm.
So you drop them off. They hop out of the cart. Wolf kind of keeps like a low stance to the ground. He's like, he's unsure. He's kind of trying to like keep himself low amongst the grass and whatnot. He's not like prone, but he's not acting like a regular person walking on the road.
He's acting like a weirdo.
He's acting a bit like
yeah. What time of day is it right now?
It's like afternoon. The sun is close to setting. It's on its way. The sky is getting orange purple, essentially. Yeah.
It's a little dim out. We're occluded by the amount of light.
There is some occlusion. Yes.
Cool.
Everybody else that's in the cart, Sharp gives a little, whatever you do. And then
pony
you guys
going.
get the cart going, and eventually you guys arrive in Dawnlaika. For some of you, it is familiar. For others of you, this is the first time. Dawnlaika is a small town. A handful of buildings sort of make up the bulk of the sort of main street of Dawnlaika, the one that the sort of road runs through. But even as you are approaching the town, you can see that there are a handful of other farmhouses, barns, properties, essentially, kind of just off the town proper. You'll see off in one direction there's sort of like a house and what looks to maybe be like a stable and a barn. Another one has sort of like a house that almost looks like it's built into like some hills. There's a couple of different little properties like that are sort of just like a mile or so off of the town, visible but not part of this main street here. And the street itself has a couple of buildings of various shapes and sizes. There are some signs on most of these buildings. Those of you, again, that lived here are familiar with them. Those of you that pass through, vaguely familiar of them. And for those of you that are new, you have no idea, it's the first time. There looks to be like a small chapel. There appears to be a sort of large bar/inn. The sign on the front says Stubby's Bar and Board. There is a house that is a bit fancier than some of the others, and it has sort of a deck out front with a couple of like tables and chairs, and the sign on it says Peggy's Parlor on it. Another building has some smoke coming out of it, and judging by the sign out front that says Armory of Trejo, you surmise that this is some sort of blacksmith of some kind. There is a store that is a bit of a mix. It is not particularly like the fanciest looking place, but it is a store with a sort of like big glass windowed storefront on it. And what is inside the storefront is a number of very fancy, kind of rich looking clothing items, even some like lingerie, stuff that like kind of looks a little out of place in this town, but it's called the Velvet Boutique.
Where did you take us?
You also
He asked if you liked velvet, so
there is a another building that looks more like maybe like a large boarding house, I guess you could say. A couple of floors to it. That's just kind of got a little sign on the top or above the door that just says Wilson's Daycare. There is another building that has a noticeable number of glass panes on an entire section of the building itself that has a sign out front that says Kizif's Plant Nursery. You also see a building not kind of just off from the Stubby's Bar and Board that just is labeled Caius Pharmacy. Although there's a sign hanging on that door that just says closed right now. So it's hard to make out exactly what's in the building itself. But judging from looking into the window, it appears to be some form of pharmacy, but you do see a bar on the inside, like stools where you could sit, things like that. Other than that, the road kind of continues on northward from this little town here. But there are smaller little kind of dirt roads that seem to sort of snake out to some of the local properties around it. So that's Don Laika, a very small, kind of quaint place, but you suspect there are more people living within what you would consider Don Laika than just the handful of buildings that you see in front of you.
And a slap
in
in
fact,
porn
like
scene.
And like Steve, for example, you know that there, that like Wagner's property is off on one of those side paths as well. So like that's a whole nother area out there as well. Yeah. So those are most of the locations.
Nice. Well, Gunolf, where to first? This is kind of your show now.
Well, we do have something to turn in, so let's make sure that we get the brambles, everything delivered for that.
Should we? I'm assuming we should avoid the wyvern for now. See what happens if they seek us out.
I say we just ignore it. If they seek us out, then they seek us out. I'm not too worried about the Empire.
You're so cavalier. I wish I had your confidence.
The Empire has done a lot of good things for the Beast Folk, even if they are
horribly oppressive,
all encompassing. But they've done a lot of good things, and we're allowed a lot of freedoms. It's just they come down harshly upon big time dissenters. So there's sometimes a lot of concessions that have been made, and there's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's perhaps for the best that they are here for at least it's a lot better than when the dragons ruled.
That's fair, but you saying they allow a lot of freedoms is there's just some red flags with even that statement. But anyways, the bounty. Let's turn that in while the flowers are still looking fresh. So we giddy on up to the bounty turn-in hut.
There is no bounty turn-in hut.
Oh,
God damn it.
that's it. We're killing the wyvern.
Wait, so
Yeah, go to the wyvern.
so
kill ourselves.
to be clear, Jason, the sign said we could turn it in here, but now that we're looking, there doesn't seem to be anywhere to turn in.
It is not overtly obvious where you would turn it in. Correct.
So we got bamboozled.
Oh shit.
Well, it was posted on behalf of an individual. It maybe needed to seek him out.
So, Gunolf, remind me where the tavern is. Maybe we can start there.
You talking about Stubby's?
I guess. Is that the only tavern?
It's the best known one.
Okay. I think that sounds great then.
The best known. The other ones are like people's basements and kitchens. This one,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Basements and oh god, I don't want to go to someone's basement.
It's
It's just a quaint little town, you know.
With a fucking wyvern.
it should be noted. Well, I guess how hard are you looking for this wyvern? Or are you just trying to see if it shows up someplace?
No, I think, Jason, we are not looking for it at all. I'm trusting Gunolf and his undying patriotic love of the Empire to avoid
That's generous.
the wyvern, and we're just continuing on.
So I must have misunderstood. I was imagining it as like a freaking vulture circling the city. Is it not that?
So It was big and up there, and then it landed.
Oh, sorry. And now we're like, okay. Sorry.
I'm like the character in 1984 before the end, and Doug is like the character in 1984 at the end. You know, I don't know if anybody. He loves the Empire.
I haven't
he loves
read
them.
it for a very long time.
Okay,
All I know is good night and good luck.
that's not 1984.
Is that not? Oh my god.
That's okay though.
I've been referencing the wrong book for like a decade.
All I
could
know
be
is
wrong.
it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
What's the worst of times? Yeah.
Whoops.
I don't know that I'm that worried about the wyvern either, but Roz would. Well, I don't know if Roz needs to ask it, but like, if the goal was to sort of suss out what it was doing there, and two of our companions are waiting outside the city, do we not need to address that at some point, or are we just going to leave them out there for the future?
I don't know. I'm surprised. To be honest, I was expecting us to run into it. Now that they haven't, we have a choice to make unexpectedly.
If you would like to make, I'll let you do like another insight check now that you're in the town itself. If you want to just look for it, but if you want to do something else in your search that could adjust your rolls here, like that is fine too.
Well, and I think Steve would think if. So we're not immediately seeing the wyvern. It's not like it's around the corner, and we're like, "Oh God, avoid that
It's
place."
not sitting in the middle of
Right.
main
Street level.
So he's kind of thinking like the bark, the tavern could have information about like, "Hey, we see that wyvern. That's pretty weird. What's going on with that? Has he said anything? Has the wyvern spoken?" Insight.
I'm like, hey guys.
Hey, gang!
My name's Wyvern.
'Cause I don't think Roz has been here before, right? She traveled with the three of you for a while, but that was later on. That was after
I
the
believe
stuff with,
that was later
yeah,
on.
So that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
she's new to this.
I'm gonna use. That's a bad roll. I'm gonna use.
It's. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna use a point, Doug. I'm using a point for our tracking purposes.
Oof.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
so
Uh,
my heart's not in it.
Even better.
Maisie, did you roll for it?
No.
Have you rolled for it? Okay.
Oh, I should have just
I
re-rolled
thought it
one
was
of
just
them.
him, but I will too. Sorry.
I mean,
Jason,
we
I wanna-
have been allowing
I want to
that.
re-roll. Like I accidentally re-roll both. I want to just re-roll the one on my d6.
Okay, so you want to keep your 6.
I want to keep the 6.
Okay, well, yeah, just roll
Well, I didn't
one
help at all.
d6. No, you did not. Oh my god, a 4 and a 1 on your
She
D10s?
is zoning out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The horse's butts are just
Look.
really mesmerized.
We're
This-
losing sharp.
This
Another
wyvern
five.
has turned on his cloaking ability.
Yeah, 11. 11. That's okay.
Oh, nice.
An 11 is not the worst.
Oh, that's not enough.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I needed something a little bit higher than that. You guys rolled really bad
Well,
across the board.
My best possible
around.
was 12. So
It will
I was
like
maybe
you-
screwed.
Double six,
I was an
though.
8. Sean's first roll was a 7. Chris's first roll was a 6. Sean's second roll was a 5. Maisie's roll was a 5. And then Sean redid it because he wanted to just roll the 1. And then that 5 became a 5 and a 6.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, before the reroll, the highest result was an 8.
And did you roll, Peter?
You
Yep.
did. It was also an 8.
Oh, okay.
That's how
Yeah, he
bad
was
we
also
did.
an 8.
A lot too many new sites in the town, especially for the 2 newcomers. Like we're just kind of like, whoa, or 3 newcomers. Whoa. 2.
So yeah, looking around, whether it's just the buildings, the sort of hills, whatever is up, you're not seeing this wyvern.
I think he's hiding. Is what it is.
He's probably like just right there.
Yeah, as I say, we're all looking around. We look in the back of the cart. He's just sitting in it.
Yeah. He's fucking like in
Yeah,
our
he's
lap.
snuck in. He's like a cat in a box. He squished himself in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, looks like we're heading to the tavern then.
Okay,
Yep.
so you guys roll the cart up to Stubby's barn board. You hop on out, and you can already notice there's a bit of a, I don't know, I want to say it sounds lively, and then you sort of enter in and you realize it's not quite lively. You hear the sounds of music as you guys are getting close to it. And as you enter, you can see that there is...
I'm so sorry. I was going to say on the way into entering, I wanted to tell Albus. I was just going to kind of, not to be secretive, but just kind of under the radar in case any of these shady townspeople are listening. Just be like, hey, Albus, as we're closer to Casimir, keep an eye out for any tiger folk that we happen to see. That now that we're closer, and maybe they'll have some answers or something. Or if we don't see any, I think that's pretty telling too. So I'll help you keep an eye out as well.
The fact that we haven't seen any leads me to believe that's a bad sign.
Yeah, I agree, but that's why we should be vigilant in keeping an eye out. And so, Jason, I'm assuming we haven't seen any yet, probably. Okay.
You
haven't seen any, haven't smelt any?
No.
Okay.
How hard have you
not.
smelled?
And we know he has a good nose.
That's true.
Yeah, he has good nose.
I'm always smelling hard.
How hard have you smelt? So, how hard have you smelt?
So, sex shop is getting in the way of the smells. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
True. So you, as you enter the barn board, you see that it is basically a looks a lot like a bar. There is a stair in the back that goes up to somewhere up above, but you see there's a lot of tables. There is a bar. There are stools at the bar. The probably most notable thing about the room, aside from there are people in it, but there is a strange sort of like machine in one of the, like up against one of the walls, and it is sort of I feel like Gunnulf, you would know this probably, maybe they might have discussed it with you, but it is like a machine that seems to be playing music currently. And leaning up against it, sort of looking at the machine, is the younger son of the two people that run the place, who are both present in the room along with their daughter. So behind the bar currently is a horse folk. He sort of has a sort of light, sort of like ochre, kind of brownish kind of look to him, bit of like a white stripe down his face. Those of you that know him know that this is Penn. And behind the bar with him, sort of wiping down one of the counters, is a deer folk. This is Lori. She is his wife. You also see at the counter of the bar a younger, the youngest of their little family here, a deer folk by the name of Kate, for those of you who know her. And she's just sort of lazily leaning up on the bar, looks bored out of her skull. She might even be asleep. It's hard to tell from where you guys are. And then up against the sort of machine, up against the wall that's playing this music, is the older of their children, which is Tucker, who is also a deer folk. And he just sort of seems to be kind of like, just kind of like, you know, nodding his head and just kind of vibing with the music, which is a sort of, it's a very kind of jazzy, like what we would call like a jazz or swing kind of mix. A lot of brass, horns, drums and percussion. Those of you who are familiar with general kind of music or done enough trades around to get exposed to things would recognize that this is some of the music that is sometimes seen in the GDR, the Greater Draconic Republic, or where the kobolds live. And a machine like this is called a hop box, and it's something that they use to like do music and entertainment with and stuff like that.
When you said this music, I thought you meant that the song that's playing right now diegetically is in the...
No.
Okay.
I do not have diegetic music for this.
Okay.
None that would be copyright, non-copyrightable. not at the top of any search that I have done. So, but yes, so there's sort of a bit of a swinging beat, and Tucker's sort of sitting there, just kind of nodding along with it or whatever. But yeah, this is a hop box, not a juke box. They picked a different term for dance with this one. They're kobolds. They hop more than they juke.
That's cute.
So yeah. So that's sort of what they went with. But it looks almost out of place in so much as like this is a very kind of quaint wooden building. A lot of it is woodworked or like it's kind of simple metalwork and stuff. And then you just have this like very complex sort of piece of machinery that even has sort of alchemical lights and things in it or whatever. Definitely looks like maybe the most expensive thing in this place, but it is at least providing a bit of an atmosphere. And as all of you guys enter, there's certainly a bit of a perk up from both Penn and Lori behind the bar. Kate is probably asleep. She doesn't seem to notice at all. And even Tucker sort of like kind of like nods ahead to take notice that you guys enter. And who's entering first? I assume Steve or
I know
or-
Gunoff for sure. I'm following his lead, absolutely.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
Roz and Sharper in the back and Steve Albert.
Okay.
And
So as you guys all walk in and Gunoff, you're first. Penn sort of lights up. He recognizes you. And he's like, oh, Gunoff, it's good to see you. Welcome. I see you've got friends. Bring them in.
Yes.
Bring them in.
Hello, hey. This is Steve. This is Albus. I mean, you're a little bit you should be familiar with them.
Yes, I remember.
We met
some of
once,
this.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Sharp, of course, she comes around here a little bit, and this is actually Rosalind's first time in Dunlika, so this is everybody here. Hello.
Oh, welcome. A bar, or would you guys like a table?
We could take a table, and they'll probably like drinks. They can drink a lot better than I can.
I think Albus, I speak for Albus, which I don't need to do. He's right here. But we want the town special. Give us what's uniquely Dunlika for this drink.
The soup of the day.
The soup of the day, if you have it, or cocktail, or wine.
We're drinking. We're not eating. We're drinking.
Or both. I don't know.
Of everything, yeah.
And he's oh, well, yeah,
Get drunk.
special coming right up. And at this point, you see Lori, the wife, just sort of slap Kate on the fucking shoulder, and she sort of like does like a slip and like wakes up, and she's like, what? And Lori's like, come on, get to work. And she's like, she kind of protests, but then they start kind of get some stuff together. And Lori kind of comes out from around the counter and kind of like pulls out seats for you guys. They're kind of trying their best. At least Lori and Penn are. A little less enthusiasm from Kate, and Tucker just keeps hanging out by the hot box. So they kind of pull out all the table. They start kind of filling up some cups, and you can see that Penn ends up kind of going back, kind of behind part of the bar, and you can kind of hear him cooking up some stuff, and Lori's like, oh, so Gunoff, what brings you back to town? It's been so long since we've seen you.
Well, I mean, I was very excited to show this place off to everybody here. Of course, this isn't everybody, unfortunately. But for everybody that's here, I was just excited to show off the town, and we actually decided that we needed to travel a little bit. And when we saw a bounty that brought us over here, I was super excited because it was even more of a reason to come by and show everybody where I'm from that hasn't already seen it, of course, but yeah.
And Lori kind of goes, bounty? What? A bounty here in Dunlika? And at this point, you kind of see Kate sort of go, yeah, Ma, that dryad woman down at the the Montgomerys, she posted a bounty. Yeah, Velvet told me all about it. It's whatever it is they're doing over there. And Lori's like, oh, okay. Well, so you guys are here about all that business?
Yeah, I didn't know it was the Montgomerys that did it, but that's... I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see them.
And Lori goes, well, it's not the Montgomerys per se. So, Gunoff, what do you know about Casimir?
Here's the question.
Well, I hope that Albus's presence here doesn't cause too much of a kerfuffle, but we've heard of it. Albus is from Casimir.
My ears have perked up at this point at the hint of Casimir.
And even as you are mentioning this, there's a look on her face of even a little bit of confusion where she's like, oh, I didn't mean to imply anything. She's not even entirely sure what you're talking about as you're talking about this.
But yeah, we heard that that there was a lot of people there that got really violent. We didn't. What have you heard anything? You're a lot closer than when we were in Lighthaven.
And we've heard that there was some violence. Yes, a lot of injured folks were coming down from Casimir, and they've taken up residence at the Montgomery farm. There's a healer over there looking out for them, but they won't tell us much. And at this point, Kate goes, I hear that the tiger folk went all crazy, started killing folk. And Lori gives her, that is hearsay. You shush up, little woman. And she kind of goes, well, that's just what Velvet says. And then there's a bit of a look between them. And Lori goes, well, anyway, it's good that y'all are helping out. It's put the whole town in a bit of a, it's strange, all these injured folk. It's not good. They even made us close up the chapel as well.
For that,
Albus wants to interject real quick after hearing that there were injured tiger folk. And he just wants to lean in to Lori and ask her in like a very stern way, where is this farm?
And she goes, oh, well, the Montgomerys are out there. Their farm is to the west of town, a little bit. Gunoff could show you the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many did you see? How many tiger folk?
Oh, I didn't see any tiger folk per se. Just a lot of other folk that were hurt. I don't want to say what I don't know. And even Kate goes, I hear there are no tiger folk with them. The tiger folk went all crazy and hurt everybody else. That's what I hear. And Lori shoots her another look of like,
Albus is also going to shoot her a look too.
I'm also going to shoot her a look.
Very sternly.
And she kind of shoots
I'm gonna
daggers
ask her
at
in, like,
you.
a very monotone voice. What else have you heard?
And at this point, Lori's like, now Kate just likes to gossip, so she's just a stupid little girl who gets a little bit in over her head sometimes. And Kate sort of gives I know what I'm talking about. I done looked around the farm a little bit, and so did Velvet. There's a lot of folk that are hurt over there, and they think that the tiger folk did it. Or at least that's what they say. So they were trying to heal everybody up, so they got that dryad woman that came into town. You know the one, Ma? And Lori gives her a look like, Kate, we don't know what she's doing here. And then Kate gives her, anyway, so they were like, oh, I need some sort of flower from the bramble. And then they put a person out to see if they could get people. Like you, I guess. Whatever. What do I know, right? and Lori just gives her a look and goes, I think it's time for you to leave, Kate. And Kate's like, fine, I will. Born here anyway. And she just starts to walk off, and she just leaves.
Albus is his eyes kind of widen a little bit with a little bit of panic, and the idea that his tribe has caused some kind of harm to a group of people, and probably is gripping the banister or the table there with his claws, like kind of sinking him in a little bit at the thought of his people doing something so heinous.
Albus, I understand your anxiety about this right now, but let's stay calm. If they've been here for a while. Nothing's going to change in a couple hours. Let's keep getting more information. Find out, determine that this is safe here for everybody, and then we'll go to the farm, I promise. Just deep breaths.
Without looking at Steve, just speaking to him, he just goes, I need to know if my people are okay.
I understand, and we will, but we want to make sure that we're doing it in a safe way for us, too. We don't want to stumble into anything or make things worse for anybody.
I don't want anyone else to get hurt. I should go by myself.
No. Just stay calm. Are those how are the drinks coming? Are they almost here?
And so Lori goes, of course, I'll get right on it. And she kind of gets back behind the bar and just starts like getting on the tap, and she starts getting a bunch of like beers or whatever. And Tucker's just at the little hot box, just like, he's just sort of like listening, but like you can tell like he does not care a shit about whatever's happening.
He's got the tunes going, and maybe they're good vibes. Who knows?
So we're gonna get a drink, Albus, and just stay calm. We're gonna get Wolf and Kestrel into the town, and we'll all go over to the farm together.
Albus's tail is flicking very quickly in an angsty kind of way, and is gonna still talk at the table kind of, and still talking to Steve, and tell him, you go get Kestrel and Wolf. I'm gonna stay here. I need to check on them. You have no idea what my mind has been thinking this whole time of what has happened to my people.
Do me a favor. Let's ask about the wyvern, and then we can split off however we need, okay? And when they bring the drinks,
I fear no wyvern. I'm not going to do that, though.
So when the drinks come back, I would nudge Gunoff to ask about the wyvern.
Yeah. Have you guys heard anything? Like, you had made mention that the wyvern dropped in earlier. Do you know what they're here for? Are they just dropping off supplies, or?
And at this, there's a bit of nervousness on Lori's part, given how kind of awkwardly tense things are. But she kind of puts the drinks down, and she goes, there was some talk earlier from Kate, so this is not the most reliable source, but she does get around, and she talks to too many people here in town. But she did say that a wyvern had landed over at the Montgomery farm earlier. I don't know what it was about, but what she says, that's the rumor.
God, does anything in this town happen outside Montgomery farm?
No.
Yeah, everybody's over there now. It's a party.
And she goes, well, the Montgomerys are good folk, so when all the injured folk had come into town, they volunteered their property to help make sure everything was okay. And given some of the other folk around here, it was the safest. It's just the two of them out there on their farm. The Raffamonts have too many children for that sort of thing. It wouldn't have been safe. So, you understand, and Wagner's property wasn't big enough to hold it. All of them. The stables of the Montgomerys were. You understand, Gunoff. I'm talking too much. I'll go check on the food. And she kind of waltzes off, kind of back by the bar.
Before you get too far, we'll need 2 more dishes at the very least for our friends that aren't here at the moment?
Actually, I don't know. Sorry, we might not be staying here. I'm looking at Albus, who looks like he's about to jet from this place.
Yeah, this might not be the best time for food.
Yeah, I think we might need to get the bill and maybe just put it on our tab. In fact,
We're gonna start a tab.
Oh,
Drink and run.
are you
Gotta sleep somewhere.
are y'all sure? Do you need a place to stay for the night, or
that would be great.
Uh,
Oh, go. Yeah.
yeah, we'll need at least one room, perhaps two. We do have a little bit of space at Wagner, or I'm sorry, my grandpa's, but yeah, it's the best way to describe it or the place to you. But yeah, we'll probably need one room or two. And I
of course.
suppose we could put the food up there.
You know
That
what?
sounds
We'll
great.
we'll make sure there are some meals ready for tonight. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
And at this point, Penn kind of pokes his head out from the back. He goes, "Oh, what's going on out there?" And Laura is just like, "I'll let you know, dear. So don't worry about the food or drink now. We can settle your bill later. It was good seeing you, Gunnolf. Yes."
Good seeing you.
Your friends are
I'm
sure are
sure-
pushy.
I am sorry about Kate. Don't let what she says get to you. She's been hanging with Velvet too much, so you know how that is.
Yeah, Velvet has a lot of things to say. I mean, insightful, yes, but she's a bit much, and
That girl is all too much. Anyway, let me go check on Penn. Penn, dear, and she kind of goes back behind the into the kitchen, and you can hear them talking. But
Where did Katie go?
out? She left.
She left the
She
tavern.
gone.
She left the tavern.
She got
gone.
kicked out, dude.
She got fired.
Yeah. Her boss was like,
She
"Get
got
the
fired
fuck
from
out." Fire.
so if we're leaving, I'll just give a fist bump to Tucker and and dip out.
So,
He does. He gives you a head nod. He gives you a head nod and a fist bump. And-
Yeah.
so Albus, I know you want to go straight to the farm, but we're gonna take the wagon to get Wolf and Kestrel, and it
Okay,
probably
but-
makes more sense to just go with us. We'll loop around to the west and all go to the farm together. It might even get there faster that way.
But if the two of them didn't want to interact with the Wyvern, and the Wyvern's at the Montgomery
do we
property, what are we
want-
bringing them into?
But then we're committing to facing whatever
We could at least go check in with them and let them know what we've learned. It may be better to bring them to the tavern if they don't want to follow, but
How far of a walk is it to the tavern, Jason? I'm sorry, to the Montgomery farm from the tavern.
I don't know. A walk?
Or a jog, maybe.
20 minutes?
20 minutes.
power
Okay.
walk.
So Albus, I think,
3 hours,
is going to head to the farm no matter what. I don't think he should go alone. Some of us can head to pick up Wolf and Kestrel, take them to the tavern. We can all plan to meet there afterward. I'm wary about splitting up, with some of us going to meet the Wyvern. But I don't know that we have a great alternative if we don't want Wolf and Kestrel to be near the Wyvern.
I can go get them. And that way it's just 3 and 3. But
Okay. Well, I would appreciate
3
that,
and
Sharp.
3?
yeah.
3 and 4, or
So I think with Wolf, there's 7 of you, so I'm not too sure how you want to split that.
3 and 4.
yeah.
Goddamn.
Are, so is it just the is Roz going with?
I think Roz, as far as I know, she's going with us unless
I
she
would-
volunteers to go with
Okay.
Sharp.
Yeah, I would
Oh.
figure the more the merrier with doing your stuff. So, especially if I'm just
Cool.
grabbing.
Yeah, and we have the
those two.
corporate shill and Gunnolf, so it should it should go okay.
Uh-huh.
The Wyvern's best
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I'll let the front desk lady know that, hey, I'll be back. Like, kind of just letting them know, like, I'll be back soon. so that we're good on our.
And she gives you, oh, absolutely, honey. No worries. We'll keep the rooms open for you.
Front desk lady.
Sorry.
At the tavern.
There's a front desk
Pen.
somewhere.
Yeah, the administration.
Tell the ball wench we will return.
What was her name? It was Penn. Then there was Katie. There was Tucker.
And Lori. Is the name.
Lori. All I remember was Katie because she got fired.
That's right. She isn't collecting unemployment.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do it. Do we? What do you want to do first, Jason? Which?
So let's just have. So Sharp, you're headed to go grab Wolf and Kestrel.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's probably. How far out did you leave them?
We
Like, how
probably
many
were
minutes-
walking to catch up, right? Like,
I would kind of think you guys were walking.
yeah, we're not probably not far
Probably not
now
very
from
far.
town. No.
But I still think about by the time that you guys would get back to town, they would reach the farmhouse.
Okay.
Like
If they were
so
20
minutes.
minutes out of town, and then I'd get them, and then 20 minutes back, so
Well-
40 minutes. Yeah.
Give or take who's walking which direction. But yes,
Yeah.
So, for the sake of this, we will do chronologically what's going to end up happening first, unless. Well, I guess what happens first is Sharp probably reaches Kestrel and Wolf.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and
First-
they've also had some time if they did anything in the interim.
So, Kestrel, you're out there with Wolf.
Yeah.
Guys are walking to town. Wolf is definitely kind of on edge as the sun is starting to set. He's like scanning the horizon. He's looking. So he's not really making conversation, but
Mhm.
you could change that if you wanted to.
I don't know if I want to talk too much, but granted, I do only have a limited amount of time with my brother, so it's like a combination of things. Probably just ask him. So, do you know do you know what rider this is? Do you know if this is one that's followed you from the cordon, or if?
And he shakes his head. He goes, I have done best I can to make sure that they do not follow me. I know I saw one of the Kirin in the wall where they held you. Your scent was there. I followed it from there, but I traveled well. I hid well. I do not think they have a rider that has tracked me. I've done good to hide my tracks, but there were many of them flying in the sky around that big place you were, with the walls around it.
Lighthaven.
The city. Yes,
Lighthaven.
that is the one. But I do not know if they were looking for me. If they were doing a very bad job. They were not patrolling far enough or searching all of the bushes and the trees. They were too high. I do not think they are looking for me, but I do not want to let my guard down.
So they're not looking for us, is what it sounds like.
I do not know. This could be a trick of theirs. The Kirin.
Well, okay, but you know they're not really that tricksy. The coming in and burning down the marrow trees and snuffing out all the curiosities beasts. It's very cut and dry, not very complicated, their approach.
I agree, Kestrel. But I will admit, when I broke through the wall around the cordon, when I saw the Kirin that was there, I thought perhaps she let me go. She seemed to hold the others back. I think she could have fought me if she wanted. She had their technology, their weapons of light, but she did not.
Why? But why?
But that is what worries me, Kestrel. I do not know why. I suspect it could be a trap of some kind. And I worry that by being here with you, the longer I am here with you, I do not want you caught in any trap.
But they know where I am. I
What do you
spoke.
mean?
Well, I spoke to anchorite. I think his name was Almond. I was with Rosalind. It was right after one of our companions lost her mind to curiosity, and he told us we were not a priority, I guess. So I don't know why they would. Did they just change their mind? That doesn't make sense to me.
He seems to kind of mull over your words, but he doesn't seem to have an answer. I do not understand why they would do this either, unless what they say is true. But surely they would hunt us if they have always hunted us.
Well, I know that, but they're not.
Is that good or bad, Kestrel? The only reason they would ignore us is that there is something else they fear more, yes?
I don't know. That doesn't make sense because they feared me the whole time. I was in the and she trails off. She says, They treated me like I was a monster until maybe a few years. The last bit of time before I was broken out, when I met Rachel, they started to treat me like a person and not an animal. But they are afraid. Maybe not anymore. I don't know. I didn't blow up the facility. Rachel did. Maybe now I'm free to go. It's silly. It's probably not true.
I do not know why they do what they do, but if what you say is true,
No, I would not lie to you.
I do not doubt you, little sister. I would never doubt you, but they could lie to you. They do not need to tell you the truth. If they are looking for something and that something is not me, then perhaps they look for a bigger predator than even I. That is the only reason I can think of. The only reason the small animal moves towards the one that would feed upon it would be out of fear of something bigger.
I do not know enough about how these people work to make a judgment on why they would let us go, but maybe it's a big predator. I don't really see a lot of predators out here, but
Neither do I.
But
And they are not animals like us. So perhaps I do not know of which I speak.
Either way, it sounds like maybe things might be better than we thought, right?
He nods and he goes, "You may be right, little Kestrel, but I still worry.
Well, I would prefer to think things are gonna be just fine because it's so dour all the time, you know? Let's think positively.
And he kind of puts his arm around you and pulls you close, and he goes, "It has been good to see you again.
Yeah.
It has been too long."
It's been good to see you. And he gives him a big fucking hug because like she doesn't do anything in half measures.
And he'll kind
and
of
they keep walking.
and he'll kneel down actually and kind of give you a bigger hug as well. And as you guys as he stands up and you start to walk, he goes, "You know you were good with that blade of yours."
It's not a blade yet. Steve says I gotta earn it. So
Yes, but I saw the way you fought. That is better than you ever did within the grove. Out here, he is teaching you well.
well, I know I'm not a warrior. That's not who I am, but I just want to. We're facing a lot of threats, and I can't always be with my Kestrel. She and I have been apart for so long that I feel the instincts take over completely when I am with her, and she is unreliable. You saw, right? How I bit Steve. He put himself in front of me, yes, but I hurt him because I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control the instincts. I couldn't control what I was doing, and I feel so disconnected from her. And now I feel like the only thing I can do is to learn how to protect my friends in this form, because I cannot always rely on my other half.
And he nods.
I see the wisdom in what you say. And indeed, even Usir knows how to fight. He may be a storyteller, but he must protect those stories. It is the same for you. But if you get the chance, when there are no wyverns in the sky, you should try to fly. Let yourself, you and your kin spirit, have grown too far apart, it sounds.
We have.
You should spend more time together.
I would like to. But it's always something. I'm underground. I'm in a city. I'm outside, and there's wyverns in the air, and there's never any opportunities.
And he does. He kind of smiles and looks around the grasslands and whatever. He goes,
It is true. This place is quite unnatural. Not like back home.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of nice though, isn't it? Like, it's green and there's a bunch of really cool stuff everywhere. Not everything's trying to kill you. It's kind of pretty, right? And she gestures up at the sky and she's like, look, you can actually see it. And
It's true, and I've grown to like this soft.
and he kind of like runs his hand along the grass and stuff, and he goes,
I like this. It is not as hard or, well, it is not like the hair fields or the tendrils. It is nice.
pleasant. It's cool. I can't feel the earth everywhere I move the same way as I can in the grove, but it's pretty. And I like this beautiful place that I found myself in. And
it is intriguing. He actually pulls like a seed off one of the wheats, and he just looks at it. He goes,
And what is this? What is this even?
I don't know. I know that's grass though. So probably the seed.
he sniffs it, and then he puts it in his mouth. And he goes,
I
and he
don't
spits
know.
it out. Now,
Well, I know everything's very eatable out here. But I don't know if that one's food. We should ask later.
That Albus fellow, he used the cooking magic, made things very good.
Yeah, he's a really great magician. I haven't tasted magic that good before.
and he nods and goes,
Agreed. It will be tough to go back to what we know after the things that I have tasted here. But he gave me a package, the little wolf did, with many things to put on the meat. It will not be the same, I do not think. It does not have the fire like what Albus does, but
No.
it should be good, I think.
At least it'll be tastier, huh?
Mm.
What else
I
did he give you?
agree.
And I just kind of peer inside, and I just start like unpacking
Oh
shit.
gosh.
yeah, he kind of shows you.
Dun, dun.
There's like a box with a knife in it and stuff like that. Yeah.
And she's like, okay, cool. I'm sure we just chat and like, mull over just like a bunch of random BS at this point. We don't need to role play like a whole conversation because I can talk to you literally all night.
I know. And there's definitely some things that he like when he shows you the knife. He's like, oh, this is for stabbing the flesh beasts that try to take your food.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I agree.
but yeah, so eventually though, Sharp, you see Sharp, I don't know, jogging, walking.
Oh, do I
Sharp,
have the
what are
cart
you-
or do you guys have the cart?
I thought you had the cart.
I thought I
Oh,
did.
so are you taking the cart?
Yeah, because I was going to
Okay.
smuggle them into the city.
Jogging alongside the cart.
Got it.
Feel bad for
So
the
you're riding the
horses.
cart. You see the cart coming down the road, and Sharp's there, and then
Yeah.
she
I
meets up
hail
with you
her.
guys.
Wave my hand. I'm like, Sharp! Sharp! Right here!
Ah, hello.
And, Kester runs up and she climbs into the cart like a fucking animal, and sits next to her and she's like, so, is there a wyvern in there?
Yes, did you see it? And he hops in as well.
So, we didn't see it, but
Okay.
they got a clue of where it is. So the four of them are traveling to like this farm to investigate and potentially find it. But we have a little like tavern that we've established and kind of bought a couple of rooms for. So I'm picking you guys up to bring you to that tavern kind of as a safe place while they deal with the danger. Potentially.
Okay. So we think it's by the farm then.
Yeah, but it's not really close to where this tavern is, and that was kind of the point of trying to like do this and keep you guys as separate as possible.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we could go back and explore a little bit.
Maybe not yet. I
Oh.
think once we have an idea on what the situation is. Now in this tavern there's some fun stuff we could probably look at. But until we kind of get feedback from the rest of the team, it'll probably be safest to stay in this tavern.
Sure. What's in the tavern?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Tavern. So it's dark, kind of like a cavern. And it's smelly. There's a lot of smelly people. But it's actually a place where it's kind of like a hotel. A hotel with like a bar that serves alcohol and food.
Tell
at
her
the
about
bottom.
the
I love
music.
that stuff.
Tell her about the music.
And there's also music.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we should go. Wolf, are you excited? We're gonna get some alcohol. We're gonna have some food. There'll be music. I love music. Okay. I don't know what music is. Sorry.
Very interesting. I have a question though. What is a farm?
Oh, shoot. Yes. So there's a variety of farms. It's essentially a location.
And as you
Okay,
and as
great.
you explain-
I was looking forward to Maisie having to describe all farms.
we're gonna swing on
Love
over.
it. Save the
As they
listeners.
head over to the Montgomery
You also mentioned
farm.
that I've lost my shit and I'm like kind of on a mission right now.
Yeah, Albus is leading the charge. He's in a mode.
He's in a mode.
He's in a boat.
So, the rest of you guys head over to the Montgomery farm. It is a brisk walk. It's not particularly far. And you can notice that there are a large number of cows sort of dotting the field outside the farm itself. They're sort of out in the field, mucking about, eating, doing cow stuff. But you eventually, as you get closer to the farm, there's sort of like 3 buildings on the farm itself. There's like a small, it's not a small. There's a decently sized house. There is a stable that is pretty large, and then a barn as well. And you notice, sort of as you approach and you kind of hit the buildings at a different angle, you can see that kind of out behind the barn, there is a wyvern just sort of laying, kind of curled up, kind of just out back behind the barn, more or less, just out in the sort of field, out in the grass. There are no cows anywhere in its general vicinity. They clearly want nothing to do with that. And it's a very sort of like long and serpentine kind of wyvern. It's kind of like skinnier, like membrane wings. It's kind of got like kind of like needle spines that kind of lie flat against the neck all the way down to like the hips. Wyverns are like they're like a wyvern, like a Skyrim dragon, if like that makes sense. Yeah. And it's sort of got like a bit of a mane of sort of like the kind of like feathers, but there's sort of that like really sleek, like black, like a duck, a waterfowl, where it sort of almost looks kind of wet or reflective, kind of like chromatic, a little bit of that going, like an oil slick or whatever. But it just seems to be just napping or whatever in the back behind the barn. And as you guys approach the barn, as far as you can tell, it doesn't even notice. If anything, the cows take more notice of you guys approaching the property than the wyvern does.
So, like, maybe I was assuming the wyvern had a rider. Is the wyvern itself the emissary?
No. Yeah, all of the wyverns have riders. It's kind of a unique situation that I guess I could get into, but the wyvern riders they're typically siblings. The wyverns themselves are there to fly and do like all the breath attacks and everything, and then their sibling is there to kind of guide them. It's the best way I could describe it is a brains and bronze situation. But yes, there's going to be another person here that is the rider.
Well,